There are large expectations in Omaha for the 2020-21 college basketball season as 11th ranked Creighton gets it started with North Dakota State out of the Summit League. Hello everyone, alongside Jess Settles, I'm Elaine Griddle. It's time to look at the starting lineup sponsored by Jeep Grand Cherokee. And Jess, when you look at the Creighton Blue Jays, you start with Marcus Zegarowski. He is the Big East preseason player of the year.
He's everybody's All-American. He makes everyone around him better. He defends, he runs the court, and in this gym he can hit threes with his eyes closed.
He had a tremendous season last year before going down with the injury late. Creighton, of course, finished the season on such a run, and Zegarowski has a lot around him as well, as this is one of the most talented teams in the country. You look at David Richmond in his 7th season at North Dakota State, a former Greg McDermott assistant coach, and Greg McDermott's 1 year at NDSU back in 2000 and 2001. And what a program Greg McDermott has assembled here at Creighton, Jess.
Tremendous home court advantage, one of the most passionate fan bases in the country. He gets it done wherever he goes, and this year he has a team that can make it to the Final Four.
We are underway at CHI Health Center here in Omaha, and the Nebraska native, Sam Griesel, controls it for North Dakota State.
If you're North Dakota State playing on the road, you cannot turn the ball over, and you want to get off to a good start.
No fans other than just parents here today at CHI Health Center. It's the new normal in 2020. And NDSU strikes first as Rocky Cruiser goes up and finishes at the rim.
A great start for North Dakota State. They want to get Rocky Cruiser going. He only took 5 shots in the Nebraska game. He's one of the best stretch fours in the Summit. He's got to get touches early and often.
Creighton into that half-court set. Ball movement and spacing such a strength for them. One of the best offensive teams in the country. And here's the Memphis transfer, Antoine Jones. Deep three from Zegarowski. That's short. NDSU, a very good rebounding team. Dave Richmond told us, Jess, he felt like they afforded themselves well in Lincoln against Nevada and Nebraska in their half-court set.
And no question, they rebounded well against those schools. It's just they didn't show poise offensively. They feel like they can compete with Creighton on the glass today.
Griesel leaves it for Cruiser, who finishes.
Nice no-look pass and nice two-fisted throwdown. There's 2 quick passes for Cruiser, and that's a great sign.
Ballack in the corner, too strong, and Griesel comes away with the rebound for the Bison. Malik Harden-Hayes spinning in the paint. He'll draw the harm. And NDSU aggressive offensively, getting to the rim. And worth noting, Creighton's season opener, North Dakota State has a couple of games under their belt already.
No exhibition games for Creighton. Haven't had their starting 8 guys or rotation guys together for months. So a little rust coming out of the gate. But Creighton's the team. They'll typically knock down those 3-point shots. But give credit to North Dakota for pushing the ball, making the extra pass, and getting pretty easy looks so far in this game.
First from Harden-Hayes misses. A 72% free throw shooter a season ago as a freshman for Dave Richmond's club. Second one on the way. That one is good, and it's an early 5-0 advantage for the Bison. North Dakota State, a 25-win team a year ago. They won the Summit League tournament. They were headed to the NCAA tournament before the season shut down. Jones to Ballack. He loves that shot, and he knocks it down.
The reason that play worked is because Christian Bishop rolled hard to the basket, pulled the defense in, and that's the one guy on the court you can't leave open for a 3-point shot.
Taken away. There's a turnover from the Bison, and the Jays want to run. Damian Jefferson off the glass. No good. Tipped around into the hands of Cruiser. That was a concern of Richmond's when we talked to him earlier today when it came to this matchup between the Bison and the Blue Jays, is taking care of the basketball, and there's another turnover by NDSU.
Yeah, and that's not typically what they've done over the last couple of years. They usually protect the basketball, but it leads to quick runouts, and you give Zegarowski too many of those, you're going to get blown off the court. North Dakota State has to handle the rock.
Jarius Cook in and out. Offensive rebound from Cruiser. And NDSU with a fresh shot clock. Cook driving. Harden-Hayes for three. That's good. And NDSU playing with some energy early.
Nice to have Harden-Hayes back in the lineup. He didn't play the last game, and he's already shown his versatility, the ability to put it on the floor and knock in the open three.
This is Bishop, and he draws the contact. Christian Bishop talking with Greg McDermott before the game. He feels like Christian Bishop, one of their most improved players from last year to this year. He really worked hard in the offseason in what was a challenging offseason for these guys.
Yeah, very hard for these guys to get together, but he's put on a lot of strength. He's always been a tough player. He's got to improve his free throw shooting. But we'll keep our eye on his defense. His ball screen defense, to me, is the best in the country. Xavier Tillman last year at Michigan State was probably the best last year, but this kid blows up ball screens better than anybody I've seen. Gives Coach McDermott an opportunity to mix up his defenses. And just watch how he comes up, forces point guards back to half court to the sideline. He's a fantastic inside player for Creighton.
Tyree Edey with the basketball. Jackson Notek has checked into the game for the Bison. They work it around. Cruiser leaves it underneath for Griesel, and he falls down, and it's going to be a foul against the Blue Jays.
You got that feeling that Rocky Cruiser didn't feel very good the last couple of days about how he's played, right? He's come out and been extremely aggressive, getting on the glass, throwing it down. There he attacked the rim and made a nice pass.
You got the impression today that the Bison really wanted to get him involved and get him touches early, and that's been a big part of the game plan as he comes out of the contest here to get a quick breather.
No doubt. I mean, he's a force in conference play. I mean, you can imagine the scouting report going up against him. He's just a very versatile forward. He hasn't shown us the pick and pop yet, but he can hit the three as well.
Ryan Kalkbrenner comes into the contest, the 7-footer for the Blue Jays. And they get it into the freshman Skunberg, who now leaves it for Edey. Witz also into the game for NDSU. Griesel driving, leaves it for Witz, goes up off the glass for two.
Another straight line drive. Creighton not moving their feet. North Dakota State getting too deep into the paint, and good things happen when you can get that into the teeth of a defense like that.
Underneath, and that's Kalkbrenner. It does not fall. Witz comes away with the board for NDSU. Edey driving, spinning, leaves it for Witz, and he traveled before he put it up.
But again, a straight line drive to the rim, and North Dakota State game plan going well so far.
The Bison have come out with some energy early. They lead number 11 Creighton Bison. North Dakota State with an early 10-4 advantage over 11th ranked Creighton. Just getting started here in the first half. Creighton's season opener, NDSU played a pair of games in Lincoln against Nevada and Nebraska. In fact, the Nebraska game yesterday. And Jess, it's going to be a challenge for every coach to navigate in these different times. But we talked to Greg McDermott earlier today, and one of the big challenges for Creighton has been having all of their core guys available at the same time to really get the reps they need in practice together.
It was surprising to hear their top 8 guys have not been on the court together since September. So this slow start is not a surprise to Coach McDermott.
Ballack pulls the trigger, and he nails the three. One of the best three-point shooters in the country, and they're going to actually call that a 2. He had a foot on the line. But the range is there all the same for Mitch Ballack.
He's going to flirt with 100 threes again this year. Nobody in the country runs better sets out of a timeout than Mac McDermott. He just knew who he needed to get the ball to right there. Gets the spark with the three-point shot.
Driving Griesel, he finds Notek, but his foot was on the line when he caught the pass. And it's another turnover on NDSU.
Yeah, he's got his toe on the line, but that's one of the guys in the country. When he goes up for a shot, you expect it to go in.
So a 10-6 lead for North Dakota State. 4 turnovers on the Bison. They have survived that thus far. Sharif Mitchell into the contest. Now Damian Jefferson finds Mitchell on the right side. He's an improved shooter this year, and he proves it without stroke.
Who do you guard for Creighton? Their ball movement is so precise. They touch the post. Mitchell steps up, it's very difficult scouting Creighton for any team to get a hand up on all their shooters.
Just the second three of the career for Sharif Mitchell. He knocked down just one all of last season. Bison, no tech, off the front of the rim, knocked around, and the rebound controlled by Mitchell for Creighton. Zagorowski trailing. No good.
If you're North Dakota State, you want to send guys to the offensive glass because you do that well and you don't want to change who you are. But against Creighton, several times so far early in this game, they've not been able to get back on defense. And Zagorowski's just a little bit cold, which is rare for him. But as the game goes on, if you don't sprint back and stop Creighton, Zagorowski's going to go off on you.
It was a big concern of Dave Richmond's about the transition defense. Turnovers a little bit of an issue for the Bison in their first two games. It's been that way so far here today as well. 5 turnovers already. Now, they've been a good rebounding team, and that's been the case today as well, but it's been a challenge taking care of the basketball. Jones driving, finishing.
He's going to have a nice season for Creighton. He looks so good out there. A great athlete, and you can see when he gets downhill, somebody's got to try to step in and take a charge, but he's difficult to handle.
Witts driving in the paint with the left hand. He got it to go. Breaks a 7-0 run from Creighton. It's a 12-11 lead for the Bison as they get back on top. Ballack in the corner. No good. No tech with the board for North Dakota State.
And if you're Scunberg, you got lucky right there. You can't give Ballack that kind of open look.
Zagorowski with the rebound. Jays pushing the ball into the front court all the way to the glass, but off the mark. And Grant Nelson comes away with it for the Bison. Nelson driving, spinning, and then he traveled with the basketball. So another turnover on the Bison. It's been a problem for them. That's the 7th turnover of this contest for NDSU.
It's been baptism by fire for Grant Nelson, the impressive freshman out of North Dakota. And you play against Nevada and Nebraska and Creighton. You're going to have to play against Kansas in your first 4 games. But in that case, that's something he could get away with in high school. But when the defender's there, you have to come to a jump stop, kick it back out, and live to fight on another possession.
1-point advantage for the Bison. Creighton basketball. And here's Jones driving again. Boy, he is a good-looking player. He draws the contact. And Antoine Jones, in some ways this year, is the version of Denzel Mahoney that the Jays got last year. He was the Big East 6th man of the year last year, Denzel Mahoney. He was able to play a lot of different positions for the Jays, and they feel like Antoine Jones can kind of fill that role this year with Mahoney when he gets back on the floor, probably being in that starting lineup.
Yeah, that's well said. He's got to be Coach Mack's Swiss Army knife, do a little bit of everything every night. Coach Mack, I loved what he had to say about him. He said he's going to do some things that make Creighton fans come out of their seats, and then once in a while he's going to do some things that make me pull my hair out. So it's just a matter of finding balance. But early in this game, he's made high basketball IQ decisions, attacking the rim.
Jays back out in front by a point and thrown away. And again, another Bison turnover. And we showed you the shot of Denzel Mahoney on the bench for Creighton in street clothes today. He is eligible to play. He's been cleared to play, but out of an abundance of caution, he really hasn't had a lot of time on the floor. So he will sit today's game out, most likely be in uniform on Tuesday when the Jays play Omaha.
I hope so. I can't wait to see him play in person. But it's an amazing year with all the things going on. I tell you what, if you're the 10th or 11th, 12th guy, you have to be ready to play every single game because you never know who's going to be in the lineup.
Jones coming away with the rebound. He's going to push all the way to the glass, and that's a great-looking move from Antoine Jones.
Another fantastic decision. Gets the head of steam up. If no one's going to step in front and take a charge, you get to the rim. This is a great sign for the Creighton Blue Jays. He looks ready to go early.
6 early points in his Blue Jay debut for Antoine Jones. Cruiser, short. Ballack comes away with the rebound for the Blue Jays. Leaves it for Jones, pulls up for three. He can do it all. 9 for Jones, and the Jays on a run. It's 18-12. Hustle play by Ballack. Run out, and he will slam it home.
And that's how you take defense and turn it into offense. The careless turnovers continue to add up, and this is against the one team in the country. You can't do that. When Creighton gets out and runs, they can get out of hand early.
It is a 15-2 run for the Jays. Cook leaves it for Cruiser. Harden Hayes for three, and Harden Hayes knocks down his second triple of the game. 5-point Jays advantage. Jet Canfield with the basketball for the Blue Jays. Picks up the dribble. Bishop squares up, hands it off to Ballack. Now leaves it for Bishop, going up strong, and he'll go to the line. So the Jays starting to find some offensive rhythm, and they lead it by 5.
I love Jones's game. He takes it to the rim, but if you don't get a hand up, he'll make it rain as well. An impressive start for Jones.
Five-point lead for the Jays. Creighton with 9 points off turnovers to NDSU's 0. You get a look at number 0 for Creighton, Antoine Jones, who at one point scored 9 straight points to get the Jays out in front in this one.
Yeah, what a debut. I mean, he's always been a great ball handler. He's a strong defender, but in this game, he's made such wise decisions, attacking the rim, probing the defense, nice touch off the glass. And then when you come down the court and are able to step out and knock in three-point shots after getting to the rim, that's just another addition to this Creighton offense that is so unstoppable when it gets going. And Alexander, those are big shoes to fill. Creighton's going to miss him, but it's nice to see Jones showing that full skill set early in this game.
Bishop knocks down the first. 58% free throw shooter a season ago for the Jays, and he knocks down both, and he's 3 for 4 at the line so far this afternoon. Extends that Creighton lead to 7. Griesel feeds Edey on the block. The 2 long from Witz, and here come the Jays again in transition.
That defensive possession was all about Bishop. Blows up the ball screen, helps on defense, and gets a hand up on the jumper.
Mitchell in and out, no good. And the Bison with the basketball. And a travel against Griesel. So yet another turnover.
And again, I can't say enough about Christian Bishop. I mean, we don't talk defense enough, but he caused that turnover. He jumped the ball screen, put his hands up. They step out of bounds, and those things don't show up in the stat sheet, but he's got to be in the running for National Defensive Player of the Year just because of his athletic ability and his basketball IQ on the defensive end. He's amazing to watch, especially here in person today.
8 turnovers forced by this Creighton defense so far. Zagorowski.
There you go.
Good look, but it doesn't fall. Harden Hayes with it now. They swing it around right side to Jarius Cook. Griesel again. Edey with 7 to shoot on the shot clock. Trying to go up strong over Mitchell. Hits the front of the rim. And Bishop comes away with the glass for Creighton. Bishop for 3. Too strong, and Griesel again has come down with a lot of rebounds today for NDSU as Sam Griesel.
Griesel's a competitor. I mean, he's been playing well the last couple games. Very physical, not afraid to post up, and just hard to get to the rim against Bishop.
Strong take by Cook, but all for naught. And here's Zagorowski in transition, and that is his game.
Oh, there were games last year where he didn't miss a shot in this building from beyond the arc. So he's a little rusty coming off the knee surgery. That's a kid that will keep shooting the basketball, and you have to find him. But there's one guy you've got to find on the break. It's the All-American Zagorowski.
He was 0 for 4 from beyond the arc before that one fell. And sometimes it just takes one. Arden Hayes gets the screen. Witz goes up strong, rejected by Ballack. And Ballack wants to run. He's going to leave it for Zegarowski again. No, just off the front of the rim. And last touch by Creighton. It'll be NDSU basketball. Pretty look in transition for Zegarowski, but unable to get it to fall. But he got that one to fall, hitting his first 3 of this contest. Creighton up 10 here in the first half. Creighton had such a wonderful season a year ago. Of course, Tyshawn Alexander, who is now with the Phoenix Suns in the NBA. 6 wins against top 25 teams last year for the Blue Jays. They won 11 rather of their last 13 contests. They were on a roll when the season ended. Had that big win over Seton Hall in this building to clinch a 3-way tie with Seton Hall and Villanova in the Big East. And look at all of that returning for Creighton. 186 career starts as Blue Jays coming back this year. 5 of the 6 top scorers returning.
Well, they were picked 7th last year, and they didn't appreciate that ranking. They really were difficult to beat, especially on the home court here, and playing against Seton Hall. That game was huge last year, one of the best games of the year. So this year, expectations are totally different. All these returners, but with the COVID, it's really messed up everybody's practices routine. So it's going to be a while before they're clicking on all cylinders. But definitely a team that, if they can figure it out defensively, can be one of the best teams in the country.
You got to look at Jacob Epperson there. First game action in 716 days for Jacob Epperson. It's been a long journey back. And with the shot clock winding down, NDSU throws up a desperation 3, and the Jays control it. Jones in the corner, driving baseline, and taken away by Notek. Now the Bison want to run. Nelson loses it off of his foot. Back to Notek for 3. That's too strong. Offensive glass to Edey. Goes up strong. That's rejected. The Jays playing tough around the rim all of a sudden after maybe not the start they wanted to defensively. Epperson to Ballack. Skip pass to Zegarowski. 10 to shoot on the shot clock for the Jays. In the corner to Jones for 3. And Jones too strong. Edey comes away with the glass for NDSU.
And Notek has to stay home on that. The rule is same side don't help. Zegarowski drives. He's trying to get the defender to pull off so they can hit the open 3. You got to stay home with a hand up.
Notek driving, rejected by Epperson, but a foul is whistled. This one against Damian Jefferson, I believe. That is his 2nd personal foul. There's Mitch Ballack. Now over 1,000 career points scored for Mitch Ballack. He has had a wonderful career here at Creighton. We talked so much about Marcus Zegarowski, the Big East preseason player of the year, and rightfully so. But Mitch Ballack, in so many ways, has been the heart and soul of this team. And one of the phrases around this Creighton program is "let it fly," and probably nobody encapsulates that any more than Mitch Ballack.
Well, and Coach Mack says he wants him to shoot even more, but sometimes he's a little hesitant. But like Kyle Korver before him, he's just one of those guys that was born to shoot the basketball, and he's had a phenomenal career, and he's all about winning. But when he rises up, there's a great chance it's not even going to touch the rim.
Made 93 threes a season ago for Mitch Ballack. He has just had a tremendous career as Mitchell and the Blue Jays into the front court. Epperson hands it off. Ballack, 4-3. That one's short. Jones with the strong offensive glass, and the jumper's good.
And that's what he brings to the table, that playground basketball. He snatches that away from the defense. It goes back up with a shot. Boy, he's been the big story early in this game. Come out ready to play and showing us everything at the offensive end.
Incredibly explosive play. And there's Cruiser off the glass for 2. Found a lane and got to the rim. I
love Cruiser's game. I mean, he hasn't shown us a 3-point shot yet, but he's shown us everything else.
Epperson for 3. That's short, and it's going to be off Jones. And it belongs to the Bison, but here's Jones. Look at the athleticism on this play, Jeff.
Yeah, 50-50 rebound. He just snatches it doesn't hesitate, goes right up, and what a start.
Talk about explosiveness, but also body control on a play like that, right?
Yeah, just born with that athletic ability, but 11 points this early in the game, hitting the outside jumper, and Creighton needs him to rebound. He's got to come to the glass and get some offensive putbacks.
The Jays really starting to settle into this game now, up 9. They've really gotten a lot accomplished defensively, too. The Bison just 1 for their last 7 from the field. Cruiser. Now over to Edie. Just 6 to shoot in the shot clock. Finds Cruiser. Driving. And with the left hand, Cruiser gets it to fall.
Nice job by Edie. Last year he was just a spot-up shooter. He's added the dribble drive to his game, but he ran into that wall, didn't make a poor decision, kicked it out to his teammate, got the higher percentage shot for Cruiser.
Mitchell finds Ballack for 3. And that's in and out. No good. Jays have had plenty of good looks from beyond the arc here in this first half. And travel whistled against the freshman Bowden Skunberg for North Dakota State. That is 9 turnovers now for the Bison.
And this is how Creighton plays. It doesn't matter if they miss 10 in a row. They're going to keep pressuring you defensively. They're going to strike quickly and take those open threes. And basically everybody on the team who can shoot the 3 has the green light to do that. And it's been a very successful formula for Greg McDermott over the years. And they just got off to a slow start. But don't think for a minute they're not going to keep putting them up.
As a coach, obviously you want to see the shots fall, but you can't control that all the time, right? But you want to make sure you're getting high-quality looks and you're running your offense at a high level. And I would say Greg McDermott for game 1 has to be pretty pleased with what he's seeing in that regard, right?
No question. After that first time out, he's told everybody to settle down, keep taking those shots. And look, everybody on the court for Creighton can knock it in. Zagorowski got off to the slow start, but he was open early, and he's going to keep taking them. That's just what they do. That's why they put up 80 points a game. That's why nobody in the country can usually stop them at that end of the court.
Ballack hustles to the basketball and then leaves the jumper short.
He was too close there, right? He's not used to getting that open of a shot that close.
His range is more 2 feet behind the three-point line. He'll take those deep threes for the Blue Jays, will Mitch Ballack. It's a 7-point advantage for Creighton in what's been a fairly competitive first half.
And this ball needs to go inside on the next couple of possessions, play inside out.
3 from McKinney. No good, but the offensive rebound by Edie and the putback is good.
He just went by Ballack. He fooled him, got around him, got the offensive putback, and they're keeping him in the game.
Jays push it up ahead to Sharif Mitchell, and Mitchell's played well early.
You know, one of the question marks coming into the season, and he's shown a lot early in this game. Last year, the backup point guard going to get a lot more minutes this year.
This Jays defense has really turned it up a notch, though, over the last 10 minutes or so of this contest. Bison going deep into the shot clock on almost every possession right now. And that's the freshman Skunberg. It's no good, and it's a shot clock violation against North Dakota State. 7-point advantage for Creighton as they have started to flex their muscles a little bit here as we get into the final moments of this first half. Coming up on the Jeep Grand Cherokee halftime report, we'll check in with Rob Stone, Jim Jackson, and Casey Jacobson as they take a look at UConn, the newest re-addition to the Big East. Feels good to have UConn back in the Big East, right, Jess?
Oh, it really does. I had some good battles back in the day with Ray Allen and company, so it's only natural to have them back, and they're going to have a good run, and Coach Hurley brings a lot of fire to the conference.
Going to be another really good year in the Big East. A lot of really good teams. Of course, this Creighton team, along with Villanova, kind of leading the pack from an expectation standpoint. But UConn picked in the top half of the conference as well. Here's Kalkbrenner, who goes up and has it rejected. Gets it back, though. 14 to shoot on the shot clock for the Jays. Zagorowski, hesitation, kicks back out to Jones for 3. That's too strong. A rebound to Cook.
Wouldn't you love to play with Zagorowski? I mean, he just makes everybody better. Collapses the defense, kicks it out to Jones for a wide open shot. And Zagorowski can control the game in so many ways besides shooting the basketball.
Griesel back to the basket against Mitchell. A little bit of a size mismatch there, and he goes up over the top of him for 2.
And that's what we talked about earlier. Griesel has the ability to post up smaller guards, so they have to go right back into him on the next couple of possessions, try to take advantage of his size over Mitchell.
Kalkbrenner spins and finishes.
Oh, that is a great sign. And Greg McDermott said earlier, he said, we got to retrain how we think when he's in the game. Got a true center. Let's let him get some touches. That was a big-time move. Nice spin to the baseline.
The Blue Jays love the perimeter play.
Yeah.
This is a different option for them than what they've played with the last couple of years on the inside offensively.
Not used to having that true center. You have to feed the post once in a while.
Griesel throws it away. As we take a look at the Big East preseason poll, you have Villanova at the top. Creighton, of course, picks second, and you're kind of splitting hairs with those two teams at the top. Providence in there, number 3. Connecticut. Seton Hall, who had the great year last year. Marquette kind of reloading a little bit. No Marcus Howard, which will be strange. So used to seeing Marcus Howard in that high-volume shooting that he does. Ballack for 3. Speaking of high-volume shooting.
This reminds me a lot of Chris Mullen from St. John's back there. That left-handed stroke, and for some reason, the left-handed shooters just have a prettier-looking shot. It's just amazing that he can continue to be left wide open when he's one of the best shooters in the country. North Dakota State, you have to stay with the best shooter on the floor. Again, deep in the shot clock for NDSU. 6 on the shot clock and a whistle up top against Sharif Mitchell. First personal foul for Sharif Mitchell. And North Dakota State's going to talk this over a little bit before we go to halftime here. Greg McDermott, we told you at the beginning of the broadcast, he was the head coach at NDSU in 2000-2001. That was his lone year in Fargo. And then the alma mater came calling, Northern Iowa, and he got the Northern Iowa job. And when he was in that 1 year at North Dakota State, he had a student assistant by the name of David Richmond. And David Richmond followed him to Cedar Falls. And he spent a semester at Northern Iowa with Greg McDermott. He was roommates with current Northern Iowa head coach Ben Jacobson. And he came to Greg McDermott at the end of the first semester and said, Coach, I'm really loving this opportunity, but as Will Hunting said in Good Will Hunting, I got to go see about a girl. So he went back to North Dakota State as a student and went and saw about the girl. The girl's name's Stephanie. They're still married to this day. It all worked out for everybody. And David Richmond now is the head coach at NDSU. Cool storyline there and a cool connection between the two coaches in this contest. I love that story. It came at the semester. It came down to basketball or Stephanie. And he said, I'm going with Stephanie. And it's ended up launching his career, and they're married, and he's had an outstanding career so far. Last couple years, Summit League champions, go to the NCAA tournament, win conference titles. It's worked out well for everybody.
And he talks about the fact that he spent so much time at North Dakota State, but he's had a lot of different influences in that time. Greg McDermott, Tim Miles, Ray Giacoletti.
Yeah.
Some great basketball minds.
Yeah, you mentioned Ben Jacobson. It's a real brotherhood between that group. They really have each other's backs.
Zagorowski for 2. And that's how the first half will end. Marcus Zagorowski with an exclamation point for Creighton as they go up by 12 after the first half of play.
Zagorowski got off to the slow start coming off of that knee surgery. But you can't leave him open for too long. He's one of the best guards in the country. And he is the best shooting point guard in the country.
Creighton leading North Dakota State 36-24 as we get set to start the second half. And we talked about the energy NDSU came out with Jess, but Creighton really started to assert themselves as the first half wore along.
And then the turnovers just led to Creighton fast breaks. And if you're North Dakota State, you got to let Cruiser touch the ball on the block here early in this second half. He's 4 for 5 from the floors. Had a nice game so far. But this Creighton defense has been impressive, especially late in that half when they made their run.
Creighton shot just 5 of 20 beyond the arc. We know that's their game. Certainly those percentages you expect to be higher, but not for a lack of bad shot or lack of good looks. They got a lot of good looks in that first half.
Yeah, too many good looks. I mean, they're going to keep shooting those all season long, and those will fall.
Griesel finds Cruiser. Now Cook driving, spins, elevates, and high off the glass for 2.
He shows his athletic ability, was recruited by Northern Iowa, chose the Bison, but he can rise up above the defenders. The more North Dakota puts the ball on the floor, gets to the basket, the better things happen for them.
Jefferson throws it away, but last touch by the Bison, and it stays with the Blue Jays. Damian Jefferson was a little bit of an unsung hero last year for this Creighton team. He's another guy that can do a little bit of everything for you.
Yeah, you could make a strong argument that his play and conference play is what led them to the title. And I remember that late jump shot he hit against Seton Hall, and they didn't guard him, and he knocked it in, and he had a phenomenal year. But he's got to take the next step, that's for sure.
Trying to feed it inside to Bishop, taken away by the Bison. And thrown away by North Dakota State. So you get a turnover, and then you turn it right back over to the Blue Jays. Creighton's done a good job taking care of the basketball. That was just their first turnover of the contest, that last trip up the floor. Ballack, deep. And fought for, and last touched by Cruiser. So the Jays will retain possession.
Both teams battling hard, and that's a good call. It's got to stay at this end.
Jones, who was the story of the first half. Zagorowski leaves it underneath, and Bishop finishes.
Zagorowski knows where everybody is on the court at all times, and great job by Bishop. The pass was just a little bit off. Instead of grabbing and trying to snap the rim, just lays it off the glass for the high percentage shot.
Harden Hayes in a little bit of trouble. Bishop out defending Cruiser. Feeds Edey, who goes all the way to the rim.
That's Edey's improvement. A spot-up shooter last year. DJ was really in his kitchen right there, jumping the passing lane. Just cut to the basket, overplayed him, got the easy layup. And he's got to do that this year for the Bison. Can't just be one-dimensional. Has to put the ball on the floor and be under the attack mode.
Bishop going up strong, and he got the roll.
That's that strength that he's been working on, living in the weight room. Last year may not have been able to muscle that over the defender, but nice touch as well as he took the hit.
When we talked to Greg McDermott today, Jeremy Anderson's name kept coming up, the strength and conditioning coach, and you can tell that Greg McDermott has unbelievable respect for his strength and conditioning coach, Jeremy Anderson, and the work he put in with these guys under weird circumstances over the course of the offseason.
Yeah, Coach Mack's been all over the country in a lot of different jobs, and he said Anderson's by far the best he's ever worked with. And a lot of that, what Anderson brings to the table, is just monitoring the conditioning and how many minutes they're going to be on the floor. Practice before, but Bishop has benefited greatly. Still has the soft hands, but added that strength and muscle. And yeah, you rarely interview a coach where it seems like every player he breaks down, he goes back to the strength coach and compliments the strength coach.
Inside to Bishop, who fought for position. Strong finish, and he goes to the line to try and complete a three-point play.
Gets the spot, gets the defender on his hip, and just literally just out-muscles the guard. And you can take that kind of hit and make the and one. It just gets everybody fired up. In a year where you're going to have to create your own energy, those are the type of plays that get your teammates fired up. Nice play.
Bishop into double figures with 10 points as well. The third Blue Jay into the double-digit club. 15-point advantage now for the Jays. Harden Hayes driving with that left hand, left it short. The tip in, no good. And Bishop knocks it away, saves it in to Ballack. Jones going strong. And they fight for the rebound. It's a jump ball. Bishop has all 7 points in the second half so far for Creighton. It's going to stay on that end.
Yeah, it's really the Christian Bishop show. And might have touched the line there, but he lays out his body, and he's playing that hard this early in the season. I mean, this is a hungry group. These Blue Jays really want to get to a Final Four and win another conference title.
Ballack, but he will draw the foul. Mitch Ballack, who has just had a brilliant career here at Creighton. 32 games now in double figures, including today. Very solid free throw shooter. As I say that, it falls off the rim. 74% from the line a year ago.
Only 74%, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you'd think it'd be in the 90s with the follow-through he has.
Again, too close. He would be better off just backing up about 5 feet
Exactly.
for his free throws.
Exactly. That's what he shoots from beyond the arc, close to 70%.
Eisen moving the basketball around the perimeter here. Cruiser takes a 3. Left it short.
And I like the shot. He can't go too long without getting a shot up. He's got to stay in rhythm.
Jefferson in the corner. Yes. Jefferson's first points of this contest, and it extends the Creighton lead to 19.
Well, hopefully we can see Jefferson in the open court, because he's one of the pound for pound, one of the best throwdown guys in the country. But again, when you're scouting Creighton, you know about the elite shooters they have. But when Jefferson and Mahoney and guys like that just hit a couple threes a game, it just breaks your will as a defense.
The thing that always stands out to me watching Creighton play this game is how many in-rhythm shots they get in this offense.
It's one of the best offenses in the country. It's unstoppable. Kids love to come and play here. And Coach McDermott's been doing this for years wherever he's been. It's just a very difficult scout and reported team to stop.
Cruiser for 3. And the big man gets it to fall. It's a big part of his game, a stretch post that can go out there and shoot the basketball. Bishop with a deep 2, showing a little bit of range from the big man.
Christian Bishop, what a start to this second half. Defense, diving on the floor, mid-range jumpers. It's impressive.
Edey finishes, and he draws the foul. Getting a little offense going here in this second half.
So many weapons spreading out the defense. DJ said it's my turn to shine.
FS1 College Hoops is sponsored by Jeep Grand Cherokee. Jeep, there's only one. 16-point advantage for the Creighton Blue Jays in their season opener here this afternoon against North Dakota State, the 11th ranked team in the country. This is a program that's done a lot of amazing things over the last few years and really well beyond that as well. And huge expectations coming into this 2020-2021 season as Tyree Edey will try and complete a 3-point play after he took it hard to the glass before the timeout. He has played solid here this afternoon for head coach Dave Richmond, and he completes that 3-point play. And Edey now with 7 points in the contest.
Let's see if Christian Bishop gets a touch on the post. He's had such a hot start at both ends, and let's see if Creighton gets it inside to him or at least puts it around the rim for him.
There's Zagorowski in the corner. Handed back off to Zagorowski. Riesel defending him, just 5 to shoot on the shot clock. Damian Jefferson, yes. And Damian Jefferson heating up here in the second half.
Perfect rotation. Shot clock winding down. Sometimes a great offensive player makes a poor possession look good, and he knocked into 3.
We keep talking about this Creighton offense and what a clinic it can be. And really, Jess, Greg McDermott, I mean, his influence is beyond just the Division I game. It trickles all the way down. Everybody's looking at film of this Creighton offense and trying to replicate what they do.
had so much success at every place he's been with this offense. I was the head coach at Iowa Wesleyan University a few years ago. My wife was the high school coach at Mount Pleasant, Iowa. And we both had shooters and forwards who could stretch a defense. And we talked and said, whose offense should we copy? And we spent an entire vacation in Cocoa Beach, Florida once just watching Coach Mack's clinic tapes on how to run an effective offense. And the reason is because I love the spacing, I love the extra pass, and all 5 players on his offenses can score.
With the shot clock expiring, desperation shot put up by Skunberg. And it's the second shot clock violation for NDSU in this contest. And we talk so much about the offense, but the defense, after the first 5 minutes or so of this game, this Creighton defense has been really good.
And he kind of got on them at that first timeout, and they forced a lot of turnovers, and it's led to offense. But that's really going to be the story going forward as far as their championship aspirations. Last year, they defended well enough to win big games, and it's got to continue to get better every game this year.
Mitchell with the travel and turns it over. Sharif Mitchell last year started early in the season and then was a part of the rotation over the course of the year. But they feel like he has a chance to have a much bigger impact in year number 2 in a Creighton uniform. Edie dribbling it. And now gives to Nelson, the freshman. Edie against Mitchell. In the paint, rises up. Offensive glass to Griesel, and there's a foul on the floor. It's going to go against Kalkbrenner, the 7-foot freshman for the Blue Jays.
There's probably not a mid-major school in the country that's had a tougher schedule early in the season than the Bison. And yet these young players are going to benefit greatly from it. You see Grant comes back in the game, Grant Nelson, and boy, you talk about baptism by fire to go up against this kind of talent early in your career.
It'll make you better in the end, and he's a guy that the Bison are so excited about. They feel like the upside with Grant Nelson is absolutely tremendous.
And there's a perfect example of it. He puts the ball on the floor, uses his length. I don't know, maybe my first bold prediction of the year. I mean, that's an all-conference player in the Summit a couple years from now. He looks that good to me at this young of an age.
Dave Richmond kind of described him as like a fawn on ice right now. He's young, everything's coming at him pretty fast. But you look at the footwork and you look at the touch, he's a guy that's only going to keep getting better in this NDSU program moving forward. Zagorowski gets it inside to Kalkbrenner. Working against Nelson. Freshman on freshman here, and Kalkbrenner wins the battle.
That's such a good sign for Coach Mack. I mean, we talked about it before. Creighton not used to having a true post player throwing it inside. That puts a lot of pressure on the defense. And the beauty about this Creighton offense, the ball will come back to you. You can give it up to a teammate, and when you're open, it'll come back.
And Kalkbrenner with the block on the other end for the Blue Jays. So the freshman getting involved. That last touch for Kalkbrenner felt very intentional from Zagorowski. Really looked like he wanted to feed the ball in there. We know that's been a focus for Greg McDermott here in the early portions of this season.
Yeah, a lot of post-play practices because they haven't had their full teams. They've worked on that, getting the ball inside, working off of those post touches. That was very intentional. 17
of the 18 points for the Blue Jays have come from their post players here in this second half. And a whistle on the floor against Desmond McKinney, the foul. Blue Jays with an 18-point lead here in this second half. As Zagorowski gets the inbound, thought about it. Mitchell feeding Kalkbrenner. Going up over Nelson, and he gets the roll.
Great post feed by Mitchell. Allowed him to post up and seal, put some touch on it. Again, the big guys for what's going on here. The points in the paint in this second half, incredible.
Here's Cruiser for three, and Cruiser will get it to fall. The Jays just working it inside on almost every possession right now. Into the corner, Jones. Back to Mitchell, driving. Damian Jefferson trying again. This one short. And knocked out of bounds, last touch by Jones. And it will turn over to North Dakota State. But the big guy getting involved, Jess.
Yeah, we're used to seeing threes around here, but Kalkbrenner, my goodness, great touch around the room. Around the rim, he blocks shots, he runs the floor. You post up hard, you get rewarded with a nice pass and the deuce.
Creighton with a 17-point lead here in the second half in their opening game of the 2020-21 season. And you take a look at the Big East banners there. This arena, for the most part, empty here today, and that's something we're all getting used to this year. Greg McDermott, talking with us earlier today, said, you know, we played the last game last year in an empty Madison Square Garden, so we had a little taste of what this would be like, but it's certainly going to be different in this building because this is one of the most electric college basketball atmospheres in the country in normal times. 17,000 plus fans, loud, engaged. Cruiser in the corner, no good. And a foul whistled on the floor. So it's going to be different when we walk out on the floor and we don't see this place packed. It's going to be an adjustment for us, and Greg McDermott talked about that. But this building, even though there's not fans in here today, this building has been just amazing for helping Creighton get to that next level as a program. Of course, they used to play up the street in the Civic Auditorium, and they had some great years there in the Missouri Valley Conference. They were still in the Valley when they moved over here to CHI Health Center Omaha. And then, of course, the move to the Big East. And there's the architect. If Greg McDermott's the head coach, Bruce Rasmussen is the architect of this program. He was influential in getting this building built and the Jays playing in it. And he's been a big part of getting NCAA tournament games here and all sorts of events that have rolled through here, courtesy of the NCAA. Bruce Rasmussen's been involved in all of it. And this building has helped the Jays go to a completely different level as a program. And it's been fun to watch this program grow over the years. And you think back to the auditorium, the Civic Auditorium 20-plus years ago, and Rodney Buford running up and down the floor, Ryan Sears and Ben Walker. Bruce Rasmussen was there for it all. And now here they are in the Big East, and they're a legit Final Four contending team.
It's just an amazing run. A great job by everybody involved. And Coach Mack just couldn't quite get the culture established at Iowa State. And it was the best thing to ever happen to Creighton because he comes over here. And then who would have dreamed that his son, Doug, would become the force that he was? That transition worked out perfectly because of the McDermotts. And
Jones feeds, Bishop finishes. Bishop can really run the floor for a big guy, can't he?
It plays so hard. I mean, I loved watching him on tape, but it's been great to watch him in person. But the big story for me today has been what Jones has brought to the court. I mean, what a tremendous debut. He's shown us everything at both ends of the court.
There's Cook with a nice move. And a drive to the bucket for the Bison. Zagorowski. And the Jays, look at the ball movement from this offense and how quickly they distribute the ball around that perimeter. Zagorowski for three. That one off the side of the rim.
And again, they get it back. You can trust your teammate here to bring it all the way around. They swung it all the way around the perimeter, and it comes back to Zagorowski. And when he gets his legs, he'll knock down that shot. But it started with him and ended with him after 5 guys touched the basketball.
Harden Hayes goes up strong, and Jones comes away with it. 2-on-2 here in the break. Zagorowski in transition. Fails to draw rim, and Notek comes away with it for the Bison. And Greg McDermott cautioned that Marcus Zagorowski may not be totally himself yet. He's had a long layoff. He had the injury and the rehab from that, plus everything being different, not being able to be on the floor as much because of COVID.
Yeah, didn't he? He told us don't expect too much early. He's got to find his legs.
Cruiser, back it in. Here's Ballard. Needs a little help. Zagorowski there. Driving baseline. Nice feed to Bishop in the finish. And a timeout is taken by David Richmond. Christian Bishop has been the story in the second half. 16 points. Tied for a team high. Or I should say tied for a game high, rather. And he's hanging on the rim here in this second half. Creighton up big, 60-41. (60-41), Jays by 19 here in this second half. And the story of the first half, and it's carried over, has been Antoine Jones. He has been a really impressive player in his Creighton debut.
He looks good in the Creighton jersey. He's shown us a little bit of everything. Stuffing of the stat sheet today. 11 points, 5 boards, 4 assists. Not afraid to give it up, and playing great defense as well.
You saw Bishop finish the fast break there. Christian Bishop with 16 points, and a lot of that coming here in this second half, and just 6 of 7 from the field. He's been incredibly efficient as well. Cook going to the glass. And Bishop doing it on the other end, too. Jones. No. And the Bison want to run a little bit. Now they'll slow it down. Edey to Note. Or I should say Skunberg with the basketball, rather. Trying to feed Griesel. And it's taken away by Mitchell. Mitchell does not have numbers. So he leaves it to Jones trailing, nearly thrown away. Alec will bring it out and reset that half-court offense. Long three contested from Zegarowski. And the rebound goes to the Lincoln, Nebraska native Sam Griesel.
And that may have been one that he needed to move on. He's not finding his shot today. Move that shot on. Make sure the next one you take is an open shot. He'll eventually find his rhythm. He's just got to get in a little better shape here and get some confidence after that surgery.
7 to shoot on the shot clock. Cook steps back for 3. And that's in and out. Rebound to Mitchell. Mitchell pushing and finding Ballack in the corner. Makes the extra pass to Zegarowski, and that's in rhythm.
He doesn't miss much here at home, but you see the difference between the two shots. One he forced, the other one he let come to him. And you're exactly right. It's in rhythm, and when he's in rhythm, he shoots around 50% from 3 at home over his career.
That extra pass.
Yeah.
Such a pretty thing when it happens. And Marcus Zegarowski getting himself into a little bit of rhythm, knocking down that last triple. And the Jays with a 22-point advantage here in the second half. Greg McDermott getting a lot of good things out of game number 1. Jays up 22 here in the second half, and the theme of this second half has been ball distribution, Jess.
This offense has worked so well over the years because the system rewards the extra pass at all 5 positions, and this has been a perfect example of it. A lot of inside touches, guys taking good shots and making the extra pass to turn it into great shots just like that. And how could you not want a player? I don't care if you're a post player or a point guard, you know you're going to get easy looks, and you know your teammates are going to find you when you're open.
17 assists in this contest for Creighton. 9 of their 11 second half field goals have come via an assist. And that's exactly how this offense works when it's really clicking. Tyree Edey is at the line for the Bison. Edey has had a solid game for North Dakota State here today. He knocks down the first but misses the second. 8 points so far in the afternoon for Tyree Edey. Jefferson works off the screen. Now Ballack for 3. Too strong. Cook comes away with it for the Bison. Edey going down the lane, lost the basketball. And it's last touched by the Bison, and it goes back to Creighton.
And with Edey, that's what Coach Richmond was talking about earlier today when we talked to him. He's got to stay under control. He does so many good things. He was a spot-up shooter last year. Now he can put the ball on the floor, but it's about decision-making. That's just a turnover you can't afford to make. This game's not over. You can string a couple good offensive possessions together, but you can't throw it off your leg and go the other way without getting a shot up.
Zegarowski was looking inside. Kalkbrenner Up over the top of Harden Hayes, and boy, he has a nice touch around the rim, doesn't he?
Yeah, he sure does. Soft hands, way to get his chin up and his eyes at the rim, and you can tell he's been working on that. But that entire possession, you could hear Coach Mack and his staff yelling, "Move it, move it, move it. It'll set up. We'll get a better shot," and it led to one.
Cruiser working against Kalkbrenner, and a nice look from Cruiser to the cutting McKinney.
Love Cruiser's game. Not only a three-point shooter or a post player, but excellent pass on the cut.
Kind of reminds you of a European big man a little bit, right?
That's well said. I mean, if you play with him and cut with integrity, he'll find you.
He can stretch it out, shoot the three. Good passing post. And Cruiser's had a really good game here today. 7 of 11 from the field. And the Bison, they really wanted to come back off this trip and go home feeling better about their big man and their leading returning scorer from a season ago. And they'll feel that today. He's played well.
Great players never play poorly 2 games in a row.
Oh, Zegarowski. An acrobatic finish for Marcus Zegarowski, the junior. 23-point advantage for the Jays. McKinney loses it. Ballack ends up giving it back on the scramble to Cook, who goes to the glass for 2.
Well, on that last possession, DJ started to cheat out. He wanted that highlight reel dunk right there. Coach McDermott's like, you got to get back in and help us rebound.
Foul whistled out top. It's on McKinney. It's his 4th personal foul, and not a lot of minutes for McKinney. Just 8 minutes on the floor and already 4 fouls. It gives you a little bit of an idea how difficult it is to defend the perimeter of this Creighton offense. And it's going to be Jays basketball as they get it in. You see Greg McDermott there calling Mitch Ballack over to get the ball in. And Greg McDermott with a little different looking mask than what you see a lot of the coaches wearing. He's got that clear see-through mask. The shot in the corner no good, and here's Harden Hayes, and it's taken away, but then back into the hands of McKinney. Left side, that's Cook. And he left it short, and Zegarowski comes away with it. Crosses over at midcourt. Mitchell, he'll take the 3. And that's short. But that mask from McDermott, Jess, you can see his mouth move, and you know, communication's a big deal in coaching. It's hard to communicate through the masks, and I think he feels that's going to be one of those little advantages he can have to better communicate with his players this year. You see the mask right there. As Marcus Zegarowski, look at the acrobatic work from the Big East preseason player of the year. Jay's up big. Look at the preseason All Big East first team. We just told you about Marcus Zegarowski, the preseason player of the year for these Creighton Blue Jays. That's a good-looking list. Colin Gillespie and a couple from Villanova landing on that first team, Jess.
No question. I mean, Villanova, another phenomenal team, and you always have the Jay Wright factor as we get closer to March. But David Duke, Providence, is going to have a monster season. Well, this is going to be must-see TV. The key is going to be, can you keep your guys healthy? And the teams with depth may have an advantage because you just really never know certain weeks who's going to be in the lineup.
You mentioned Providence. They're picked 3rd right there behind Creighton and Villanova. And then you got UConn in there and Seton Hall, who was a tri-champion in the regular season last year. They're picked 5th, and they'll have a strong club as well. Should be a fun year in the Big East, no question about that. Zegarowski stepped out of bounds before he put that one on the floor. Got to feel good for Marcus Zegarowski just to be back on the basketball floor. I think, if anything, just to get on the floor, get a game under your belt, and kind of get yourself work back into game shape a little bit too.
Absolutely. I mean, he played with a ton of confidence today. He's not looking at the stat sheet. He's trying to find his legs. He's going to take the open shot when he has it. But I think just over the last couple of days, everybody involved in college basketball is just happy to be on the floor. These kids have been under a lot of pressure, haven't been able to have much competition, and I'm glad we were able to pull this game off. It's been fun to watch.
Offensive foul against Rocky Cruiser. Yeah, it's just felt good to see basketball again and see these kids out there doing what they love and competing. This is what they work so hard to be able to do. It's what motivates them when they wake up in the morning. And so to be able to go out there and do what they love it's just fun to see these guys go out there and do it, even if it is a little bit different than normal. Jays moving around that perimeter. 10 to shoot on the shot clock. Jefferson feeds Epperson. Nearly lost it out of bounds. And now body checked, and it does go out of bounds. And it's Bison basketball. Let's take a look at this upcoming schedule for Creighton. Tuesday night, the Omaha Mavericks come to town for a inner city matchup between those two clubs. Kennesaw State comes in after that. And Epperson with the block off the backboard. Cruiser going up strong. Epperson affects that shot, but the tip-in's good.
Creighton's big men have definitely impacted this game, and they just put their arms up. They deflected a lot of shots. Greg McDermott has to be thrilled with how they played. I mean, you talk about it's so hard for big guys to be off the court for months at a time, and they've shown explosiveness in this game, played smart. It's not all about just the shooters raining in threes. It's about playing defense as a big, and they've had a great effort punching the ball inside and giving their bigs a chance to touch it.
And just through one game, and it's one game, but it looks like big man depth is going to be something that Creighton has this year. Multiple options in that post.
That's exactly right. There's going to be competitive practices, and just who plays the best is going to get the minutes.
NDSU currently on a little 8-0 run to get it back to a 15-point deficit. Long rebound goes to the Bison. Here's Harden Hayes with a nice step through and a finish. Talk about explosive athletes. We've seen that from Harden Hayes, who didn't play yesterday against the Cornhuskers in Lincoln. Jays are going to set up their half-court set here. Big part of this right now is getting work in, right? If you're Greg McDermott and if you're Dave Richmond.
Again, no exhibition games. I mean, hardly any scrimmages. Haven't had their teams together. So this is just to get a sweat up against somebody you're not used to playing against has been a big deal.
Zagorowski now at 12 points in the contest on 5 of 15 shooting. And as you said, you're kind of knocking the rust off on the fly a little bit here. Greg McDermott has won 18 straight season openers at the helm of this program. And it has been quite a program since Greg McDermott got here. It was a great program when he took it over under Dana Altman, and Greg McDermott has taken it and even taken it to higher heights, well, along with the move to the Big East. And the Jays have big aspirations this coming year.
Well, you mentioned Dana Altman and Ryan Sears and Buford, and those guys ruined my Thanksgiving one year. I'll tell you what, I was playing for Iowa, and they came over to Carver Hawkeye Arena right before break and beat us on our own home court. And man, it took me 3 or 4 days to get over that. But for decades now, they've had such a great program here, and Mac's taken it to another level. Now they're in the Big East. It's a lot of positive things going on in Omaha.
Occasionally, Creighton would get a Big 12 or a Big 10 team to come into the Civic Auditorium and play them. And remember a really good Oklahoma State team coming in and losing to that Ryan Sears, Ben Walker club. Doug Swenson was a part of that team.
Yeah.
The Jays have had some great teams over the years, and this may be one of the best they've ever had. Epperson now gives to Devin Davis. Handful of walk-ons on the floor right now for the Blue Jays. Canfield, 25 seconds remaining. Epperson for 3. That's short. And it's going to be tracked down by Skunberg for North Dakota State. Shot clock off now. Nelson, the freshman, is fouled on the floor. That goes against Epperson. Second personal foul on Jacob Epperson. The Jays are going to come out of here with the victory, and they're going to feel like they got a lot out of this. And they'll have a day off tomorrow, and then they'll welcome Omaha into this building on Tuesday night. And it'll be interesting to see what kind of adjustments Greg McDermott makes, what areas the Jays improve in their second go-round on Tuesday night against the Mavericks, as Nelson knocks down that one. It's an 11-point advantage for the Jays, and they'll just dribble this one out, as Jet Canfield will bring it across half court. And that's going to do it here for this one, as the Jays overcame an early deficit in this one, stretched it to a double-digit halftime lead, and maintained that in the second half. As you see Greg McDermott and his former student assistant, now head coach at North Dakota State, Dave Richmond, exchange a small embrace at midcourt. And Creighton moves to 1-0 on the season with a, all in all, workmanlike effort today against North Dakota State.
You have to be so impressed with the play of Jones. So good to see Zagorowski feeling better, and Creighton, they just pass the ball as well as anybody in the country. An A-plus effort for both teams, but the Blue Jays, the superior team here on opening night in Omaha.
For Jess Settles, I'm Lane Grinnell. Thanks for joining us this afternoon from the CHI Health Center in Omaha.